And thank you for joining us for our second half hour, The Factor Uncensored. We're just 2 weeks into the NFL season, and we've been noticing a lot of violence happening in the stands. From Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara and even NRG right here in Houston, we've seen fights between fans go viral, violent fights. This week, a Patriots fan died after being punched in the head at a game. Now, according to the autopsy, he died from a medical issue, not the actual blow. But the violence is still disturbing. I had a chat with sports journalists Kim Davis and Kyle Mosley about why these football fans are so riled up. What is going on, guys? Kim, let's start with you.
You know, I've seen that, and the first thing I say is obviously it's really unfortunate, but I think Isaiah, it's just a sign of the times. Everybody's on edge. We're all tensed up, and they bring it into the game. I mean, it's unfortunately kind of, I think it's the times that we're in, and it's unfortunate that we see it at the sporting events, but I always say what happens in sports is really just a microcosm of what's happening every place else. That ain't sportsmanship. That's not just you supporting your team. People acting out.
I totally agree with you. Kyle, your thoughts on it, and why do you think we're seeing this?
Look, it's not anything new. It's been climbing since 2014. 2016, they had at least 7.5 arrests per stadium that was occurring across the National Football League. I think right now, when you look at what's happening, I have to agree with Kim, our country and our society has become more intolerant of just each other. And we are a powder keg waiting to burst. And you see all the frustrations that are happening across the country is filtering into the stadiums as well. Now, what's interesting from a Washington Post study, they said that the longer the game goes, the more likely you're going to have a problem there. If it's a night game, it's twice as many fights that occur at night games as well. I don't know what's happening over in San Francisco, where even you have women that are getting involved with the fights. It's just becoming one of these situations where you have to say it's not one true thing that we can point to that is the source of what's the frustration that the fans are having. But if a home team is losing, more likely the fights are going to happen. The later the games are, more likely fights are going to happen as well.
Well, we need some short-ass games, like 10 minutes, in and out. What? But you know what's most offensive about the San Francisco fight, Kim, and you probably saw this man pulling this woman by her hair and punching her, but he never dropped his damn beer.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you talk about the games going on longer, that means they're selling more alcohol. Okay, and so stadium owners want that because alcohol is a really big revenue stream. And so the longer the game goes, the more you're drinking. And you said, well, they cut it off at a certain point, but I just think the alcohol plays a part of it. And it's all the other stuff too. We are, as Kyle said, we are so intolerant. And, you know, I have this talk I do, it's called Talking to People Who Aren't Like You. Nobody's teaching people how to, okay, you're now a little bit different, Isaiah. It doesn't mean I have to punch you in the face, right? I need to know how to exist where you are, right? And I can disagree with you, but how do I do that? We're not doing that at any level, at the highest level in businesses and politics, which is really what people see. And so at the game, people just showing they're acting out.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times they're Isaiah, I believe they're mimicking what they see out there on the field as well. Even at hockey games and baseball games, you see the fights that occur there. You have guys in the stadium, they're drinking, they're frustrating. You know, they might have a bad day at work. Their lady just dropped them. You just don't know what's happening with these guys, and they think they can be able to mimic some of the situations that are happening out there on the field of battle and put it into the stands where they're the combatants themselves.
And do you think there is a particular sport, any specific sport, where the fans are more violent than the others? I don't recall a lot of fights at basketball games, but that may be just me not remembering.
No, I don't think there are a lot of fights at basketball games. Basketball stadiums are closer. people can really see each other. You know, you're talking about a stadium with maybe 17, 20,000 people, as opposed to a stadium with 60, 70,000 people. So I think football, you know, that whole, I don't want to say barbaric environment, but perhaps lends itself more to that. And Kyle mentioned people mimic what they see on the court or the field. I mean, there's a lot of fights in hockey. There are not that many fights in football, but people are in the stands. They are acting out that way. And we see it sometimes also in baseball. We saw it last year during the playoffs, during the World Series. Remember the whole Mattress Mac issue where somebody was trying to kind of charge him up. So I don't know. I just think we're intolerant, and we do have to learn that the whole, can we all just get along? It's a game. It really is too much.
And, you know, with the recent death of Dale Mooney, the 53-year-old who died, likely we will see a lawsuit against the stadium, security. So do you think, guys, that would prompt ownership, the NFL, to make any changes or any tweaks, maybe even limit the alcohol sales, because there will be a lawsuit after this?
Yeah, look, I have to go back to 2016 once again. The NFL sent a memo to all 32 teams to let them know that there's a zero tolerance that they will have for fighting and the violence that occur, not only in the stadiums, but there's a significant a lot of the fighting that goes on in the parking areas as well. So when the NFL looks at the business sense as a whole, yes, they do not want to have the lawsuits. They do not want to have anything to do with lawsuits. So therefore, yes, there's going to be more of an emphasis being put on the teams to be able to have better security. Because if you look at some of the fighting that occurred, where was the security? It took them minutes before they arrived at the scene of those fightings in the seating areas.
Or they were standing back kind of watching. I mean,
yeah, that's a possibility to them, right? Yeah, they're like, hey,
we ain't paid enough for this.
Yeah.